Hello, everyone, and welcome to this podcast series organized by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India at this GCC Summit, which is happening at Gandhinagar, Gift City, Gujarat. And I have with me a very senior council member, CA Chandrashekhar Chitale, who is also the chairman of Internal Audit Standards, who is also the chairman of Ethical Standards Board and vice chairman of
Union Director.
Union Directorate. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us.
Thank
So
you.
nice meeting you, sir. And today,
My pleasure.
I just wanted to have your opening remarks on this GCC Summit organized by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, based out of Pune. What do you think this will help in the growth story and the growth journey of India as well as our Institute of Chartered Accountants?
As far as this GCC and ICAI are concerned, it is a newly born baby. Earlier, I was aware of GCC, but that was through IT companies, through NASCOM, and it was predominantly
IT.
organized by them, IT based. Now, this year, we have energetic persons like CA, my coordinator for this particular Sanjeev Sanghi from Kolkata, from where the sun rises. The GCC has incidentally for institute has taken a rise from Kolkata with the brainchild of Sanjeev Bhai. And really it is not only what happens, suddenly an infant which was born this year post February has become an adult. To see that in this second conference, it's really jubilant. And what I am seeing as far as the first GCC conference is concerned, in fact, the economic advisor in PMO, Sanjeev Sanyalji, who also addressed the GCC, and with open arms, he said whatever regulatory changes the ICI wants for the purpose of enabling global competition, you are welcome. And the manner in which this has been organized, I think I recollect in 2022 December, a president from again Kolkata organized the World Congress, and that was a record-breaking World Congress. And thereafter, the organization IFAC discontinued World Congress, saying that they will not be able to manage this much numbers. Yeah, that was the last one. I believe that after ICI making foray into this GCC arena and organizing conferences, I think all other organizations must have said this is their last conference, now converge with ICI. And that much energy you have.
So thank you so much, sir, for such kind words. Now, as I said,
and you mentioned that when you type GCC, ICI comes first. As I am aware, ICI does not pay Google or anybody to pay, so it has become automatically because of pressure of the viewers.
I think the journey is long, and I think we all have to play a very important, and we are doing that. It is not the vision of one council member; it's the support of all the council members of the institute who is working together to make sure that this entire country and the profession goes global and goes digital and goes more and more better. But sir, my role over here is to ask a little more fiery questions to you, because you are leading, and let me tell you, he is leading and trying to break so many regulations on the ethical standard board. And that is going to be very important when we talk about big seven, when we talk about how we can go global, how we can advertise, how we can network, how we can connect, how we can collaborate. So sir, the entire viewers wants to know, like how is ethical standard board going to play a very important role, because each and every committee is going to play a role in this GCC ecosystem. Though this is a summit, but then ethical standard board is also going to play a very important role in giving a lot of arsenal and powers to our members to go global. So what are our ongoing initiatives we are going to do on this regard?
Sanjeev, if you recollect, uh, at the commencement of this council year, there was orientation program for all
Yes.
managing committee members from across the country. And there, being head of Ethical Standards Board, I was asked to introduce what Ethical Standards Board is. And there I said that if any chartered accountant harbors a fancy idea and render services in that particular domain, the first person to say no, you cannot do it, is Ethical Standards Board. But from this image of being a negative, what we want, that if anybody wants to do something, well, we support him, and from negative we want to become a positive, support for the purpose of profession and propelling the profession in right direction. What I noticed is this ethics, etc., particularly the act, was enacted in the year 1949,
Right,
even ahead of enactment of our Constitution of
Right,
India.
sir.
And thereafter, the world has traveled miles and we have traveled only inches. So that gap has to be bridged in order to walk with the time.
Yes.
And as a professional, I believe, for a professional, it is not walking with the time, he has to walk ahead of the time.
Right, sir.
So those steps are required to be taken, and there are in three aspects. One is the changes, positive one, which a council can make, the council table before the council, the changes which are required in regulations, maybe the Ministry of Corporate Affairs can think of,
Right.
and where the change is required in act, it can be placed before the parliament through proper channels. So the Ethical Standards Board is working on all these three directions. In coming month, we are having one meeting where number of things we are trying to open up, like maybe website, dispensation of services through app, because you will appreciate that for the purpose of furnishing return of income, earlier the employees and other small businessmen used to visit the office of chartered accountant.
Right.
Now, no more the thing, because now they go to the website, they look at an appropriate app, download it, and use it for the purpose of uploading.
Right.
And then surprisingly, behind that app, there is a chartered accountant. But directly he cannot do it, so company employs him and company does it.
Right.
So, rendering this taxation services is domain of a chartered accountant.
Right.
So, if he develops app in it, why he should not be allowed to market it? There is nothing illegal, illogical. Again, he need not advertise. Those who want to purchase, they can purchase, see his website and have it. Maybe going forward, what we believe is, but that is change in act required, that wherever chartered accountants are competing with other service providers for whom there is no embargo in advertisement, chartered accountants also should be freed to do advertisement, because that is affording level playing ground. And taxation, management consultancy, IT, GCC, number of things are there. Website. Now, website should not be like a Sarkari newsreel. It should be vibrant. People should be able to look at his website and appreciate that, okay, this is the chartered accountant firm, full of bubbling youngsters, rendering wide range of services. So for that, you cannot put them into role. See, things like whatever you put should be fact, it should be honest.
Right.
You don't cast aspersions on others.
Right.
Then you don't say that we are the best, we are in superlative degree, because nobody has certified you to be best.
Correct.
There is no tangible proof. So avoiding these things, whatever you want to place on website, you can do so. So these type of developments we are looking at.
Right. So if you see and hear a very senior counsellor, talking on these lines, there's a huge transformation which is going to happen at the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, where all our members will go into that level playing field. We go back and look into all the value-based services, all the value-add services, and he was referring about the website, about the apps which they can use to enhance their productivity, and there should be a thin line of difference between what is push and what is pull. So I think what he's trying to mention is that we'll open doors, we'll try to subject to the confirmation from various council and the act and the MCA, but he is all open to work on this direction so that all of us as chartered accountant gets empowered, ethical, and transform ourselves into someone who can work not just for our country, for the entire world. Sir, my next...
Of course, whatever we are talking about, opening up, etc., that is not at the altar of core of our profession. honesty, integrity, and excellence.
Yes.
That will
Yes.
always remain.
Yes.
Independence.
Yes.
So all these basic tenets on which the profession, the credibility of profession is built, that will be continued.
Yes, sir.
Interestingly, one thing I would mention about GCC, see, after qualifying as a chartered accountant, generally you don't read CA Act, regulations, etc. But I was made chairman of this ethical standards board. I also had not read earlier. Of course, we are following ethics because that comes from moral, and we believe that whatever we are not doing unethical is fine.
Right.
But after you become a chairman, at least you should have a theoretical background, the understanding, so that your answers are appropriate if they are asked. Questions are asked.
Very good, very good.
So there, it was believed, generally it is believed that for a chartered accountant, advertisement, solicitation, there is an embargo. The understanding is correct. In first schedule, part 1, regulation 6 and 7 prohibit solicitation and advertisement.
Right.
But because I never read the code of ethics seriously or act seriously, well, we were aware that we cannot advertise.
Right.
But when I read it, I read from A to Z, not a cursory glance at it.
Yes.
So when I read, I came across subsection 2 of section 1 of Chartered Accountants Act 1949.
Okay.
And what that subsection reads, this act extends to the whole of India. So meaning thereby, if I advertise outside India, the act itself is not applicable.
Correct.
And in GCC, when you are rendering services abroad, unless you advertise there, who is going to give you?
Correct.
So maybe the act is to be read in a holistic manner, and then look at this ambit rests with India. So outside India, the act is not applicable.
So there are a lot of transformation which is going to happen this year, as rightly said by our chairman of Ethical Standard Board. And coming back to one more very important area, which is chairing on the internal audit standards. So the internal controls, like I will not go more into the internal audit, but more into the internal controls. I think that is what is going to be a very, very important value add services for our country as well as for the entire world. Internal controls, internal policies, SOPs, checklist, and risk management strategies, and all of this is going to play a very, very important role as services for a client who is already a GCC in the country. We are just talking right now in one of the sessions that you have to position yourself. Do you want to be a consultant of GCC, or you want to set up your own GCC? But if you want to be a consultant on GCC or opening up your own GCC, internal controls become very important. I want to know more from you on what internal audit standard is, how they are working on these directions so far as GCC is concerned.
See, 3 aspects again. One is risk-based audit.
Right.
So yes, we are coming out with publication on risk-based audit.
Nice.
And when we talk of risks, ultimately the other object, that is control. So wherever there is risk exposure, you can have some
necessary controls,
application that will ensure that that risk, if it surfaces, maybe it will be addressed, or if it does not attract the particular organization.
Right.
So risk we are taking care. Then internal audit standards we are making. Those standards are generally guiding principles for internal audit how to function.
Right.
But for setting up an internal control, if you look at the outlook, these are all aids to the management.
Right.
So from that perspective, one can take a call. And thirdly, now we are not envisaging that role of internal auditor is confined to fault finding and reporting.
Right.
Now what happens, fortunately, if you consider a production manager, his area is confined to manufacturing, production, marketing, sales, human resources. But internal auditor is the only person who has the cross-sectional and the entire organizational perspective. So what we are expecting, that the internal audit function should look within and also should look beyond.
Wow.
So supposing some country has imposed tariffs, so that will also create a risk
impact
for the purpose of organization.
Impact assessment.
Exactly. So impact of internal and external risk should be done by internal audit function, and also to guide the management, because this is the only functional head who has cross-sectional perspective of a company.
And definitely, sir, this has given me a lot of top ideas that maybe in the next GCC Summit, we may talk about all those, services which you just mentioned on the risk management, on this looking beyond and looking within. what are the controls and what are the measures which needs to be taken, how our chartered accountants can be trained on those areas so that they just don't have proper control in their organization, but they can also create those control mechanism and the risk management strategies in other organization as client. So I think that's a very, very wonderful input from your end. Just one last question before we end, because this is a podcast of max 10 minutes. Sir, GCC, once again, I'm coming back to the same discussion. This is not a new, as you rightly said, this has been from ages. We are coming up with names and we are coming up with concepts, but the ultimate objective behind GCC is to work in an ecosystem where we work on collaboration, we work on scalability, we work on specialization, we work on the speed, we are working with the ministries. What is your message to the members at large, to all our young members, to all our chartered accountants, and to senior members, of how they can be a part of GCC? Because you have just attended and moderated a very important session on taxation. Maybe you can throw a little light on that as well. That how they can, because they are tax experts. What is, how significant they are in this entire GCC ecosystem? Because many are thinking, this is not my cup of tea. This is something which I will not be doing. All the large corporations are going to do. I want you to tell my entire team that this is for you and how they can contribute to this.
See, earlier when we say advent of commerce trade, there was barter, then there was monetization, then sole proprietor partnership, and now there are corporates, and within corporates also there are listed companies, MNCs. So that has happened in the space of manufacturing, in the space of services like IT and other services. Now, if you talk of profession, now if there is a corporate having say 10,000 employees doing turnover of say 50,000 crores, would they avail services from a proprietor or small partnership? So chartered accountants also have to grow in number, particularly relating to GCC. If we want to manage the activities of a large corporates, I think size matters. So that one has to do. But while as an equal breadth, let me say that while size matters for large organization, it is not that nothing is available for smaller or proprietorships or small partnerships. They also can have a cup of tea in this GCC space. Particularly, as you stated initially, you can be a consultant for setting up GCC for any organization. So maybe your dedicated services are available, and it is not only the requirement of large organizations. Even if you look at
small GCC,
small and medium and micro sector organization, a micro enterprise, a small enterprise, they also don't have help for the purpose of maintaining accounts. The manner in which the company law, the accounting standards, the income tax law requires. So that service can be rendered to them, and for that 100 employees are not required. You can have team of small 5-10 persons, and they will be able to render those services. But again, growth is the buzzword. Unless you grow, you perish. There is nothing that you remain stable at a particular level. So maybe initially you can start with whatever clientele you have, render them services into various spaces, digress yourself, don't confine yourself to only auditing and taxation, because the profession is much beyond auditing taxation. I see there are various progressive partnership firms where their minor revenue comes from auditing and taxation, and major revenue comes from consulting and other activities. So maybe as a chartered accountant, firstly, don't remain a sole proprietor. If you remain a sole proprietor, there are confines to your growth. So converse into partnership, small partnership, big partnership, so that you have consultation in-house with your partner, you can discuss, plan, and then you can graduate into large firms. Of course, if you feel that, okay, 5 partners, 10 partners, that's sufficient, maybe you can also do that. But ultimately, 3 things are there. Firstly, you should be tech savvy. Without technology, you cannot do. And I'm not saying it is impossible. But we discussed about internal audit. There is a company having 10 branches where stocks are located. If you are not tech savvy, you can visit all the 10 places, do the stock taking, that's fine. But it will take 10 days. But if you are using technology, maybe in one day sitting in your office, you can do stock taking at all the 10. So if you expect the payment for 10 days, because you visited 10 locations, one each day, and you sat in your office and did look all the things, would the enterprise pay you for 10 days?
Right.
So ultimately, unless you embrace technology, you will not be walking with the time.
Wonderful
People
example.
may not, you will not be adequately compensated. So technology is the hub. Secondly, the domain knowledge. And when I say knowledge, chartered accountants have knowledge of accountancy, direct taxes, indirect taxes, information technology, corporate
Yes,
laws.
yes, yes.
But there has to be a core competency in a particular field.
Yes.
So if anything in company law, then you are expert in company law.
Maybe in mergers.
Exactly. So you should have domain expertise. That is number three. And fourthly, the growth comes with people. If you have a crore rupees in your wallet, maybe you can purchase 1 lakh computers. But if you have 10 crore rupees in your pocket, you cannot purchase a single person. So today in service industry, the growth happens to persons. So embrace more persons. More the merrier is the proverb. So in partners, let there be plurality. In employees, let there be plurality at each levels. And give them a graduation plan that after putting up service for a number of years, loyalty, intelligence, demonstrated service record, you can embrace them as a partner. So that way, one can
And attend GCC Summit.
yes.
So
No,
that,
what happens? See, if I think that I know everything in the world,
yes.
I think I am the most fool person in the world. So, if you want to know anything new, ultimately you can read lot of books, you can go to the Google and you will know. But what you will know within 100 days, 200 days, by attending one GCC summit, you will know in 2 days.
Yes, so seeing is believing.
Yes.
Seeing is believing. So that was a very powerful message from a very senior council member, CA Chitale sir. We respect him a lot, and he has got tons of knowledge, and the vision which he carries, the kind of ideation he has, and the kind of way he drives the entire committee, and the leadership which he carries is unmatchable. So we are on the right track, and we look forward for more insightful discussions with Chitale sir in our next summit, which is going to happen in Hyderabad or Pune and other summits wherever we go. But we want all of you to come forward with us, meet, network, and engage with the fellow chartered accountant. And this is the way to go forward. He has said rightly, very importantly, three important message is have a domain knowledge, have a team with you, and invest in technology. With that, thank you so much, Chitale sir,
Thank you.
for being with us, and we look forward
And
to
let us meet at next GCC summit.
Thank you, sir.